Today's purpose is to celebrate 100 years of Triumph motor cars.
To get 100 cars here today has taken a year's worth of looking, phoning, finding, asking nicely, please get the cars here. And it's quite an achievement to be configured in a 100 configuration on the parking lot, as you'll see later.
Triumph started as the name for bicycles. And the fellow who named them Triumph thought that the word Triumph was useful because most people in most countries understood what Triumph meant. So it morphed from Triumph bicycles to Triumph motorcycles during the First World War. They used to be known as trusty Triumphs. And in 1923, the first Triumph motor car morphed out of that.
There is no way you can buy new Triumphs today. They just do not exist. You can get old ones, new ones, reconditioned ones, rebuilt ones, but no money can buy a new one. It's a true classic. The oldest car we have here in South Africa is a 1928 Triumph Super 7. Then we have a 1948 Triumph Roadster, going through the range of TR2, TR3, TR4, TR5, TR6, TR7, TR8, Spitfire and Stag. I've only got two cars here today, my Triumph Stag, which is still my favorite, and the TR7, which is just the most modern and the newest of the Triumph range. Triumph Stag is a four-seater, hardtop, soft-top convertible, very versatile car. It's luxury, it's got automatic transmission, electric windows, power steering, power brakes, just a luxury cruiser. It's in fact a grand tourer more than a sports car. The newest of the batch today is the TR7, mine being built in 79, registered in South Africa as an 81, is one of the last Triumphs. That is why I consider it the new plastic Triumph.
The Triumph Super 7 followed the Austin 7, so it was supposed to be a little bit better. It is about 50mm longer and about 25mm wider, and it has a slightly more powerful engine, and it has hydraulic brakes. We made about 17,000 of them between 1927 and 1934. The second oldest, it's 1947 Triumph Roadster. It was the first car after World War II that John Black, who was the MD at the time, said he wanted to do a sports car. Got two teams together. One team did the front part of the car and one team did the back part of the car. With the engine which Triumph made for Jaguar, for the 1.5 Jag, and then a year and a half later they made the Vanguard engine, which is the same engine which was used in the Massey Ferguson Farley tractor. This specific Roadster has 325,000 miles on the clock. Originality makes a car's value go up, and it must have a good story. A car like this might be similar value of a TR3, which is in the order of probably 350.
I personally have two cars here today. In the background here, you can see the green TR2, and just to the right over there is the red Spitfire. Red Spitfire was a complete body-off restoration. The green car, the TR2, is a 1955 car. It's not a restoration, that was a resurrection. I got it in parts, in boxes, and rebuilt it. It took about 2 years of 3-4 hours a day at least. First production car to have disc brakes. The Jag had the first racing car with disc brakes. Triumph was the first production car for the general public to come out with disc brakes at the front. The Spitfire, I would guess in South Africa it's worth about 120,000. The TR2 here, about 380, maybe 400,000 if you get the right buyer. If you could get it shipped to the UK, you'd get R1 million for it. It's actually mad that the English built these sports cars. With a roof up, if you're in a rainstorm, you might as well not even have the roof on. They leak like sieves. I suppose it's got the thing about mad dogs and Englishmen.
As a boy, I saw a Triumph Spitfire, red, and I said one day, I'll have one. And only when I reached the age of 40, I eventually got my first Spitfire. TR stands for Triumph Roadster. We have a range from 2 to 8. This is a 1968 Triumph TR5. Very special in the sense that there are very few of them made. It was sort of a gap stop between the TR4 and the TR6 model. The engine was ready, the body wasn't ready. They merged the two. So you have a very unique car, less than 1,200 for the right-hand drive models. It's a lovely car to drive. It's a 2.5 litre straight six fuel injected. Power to weight ratio, exceptional. Goes like the clappers. I'm not a restorer, I'm a driver of a car. I love driving my cars. It's not about how fast it goes, it's how beautiful it looks and sounds.
This TR6 had the third place last year on the national concourse. It's completely original. I have all the paperwork from since it has been exported from UK and arriving here. I'm the fourth owner. Previously, all the owners were from the Triumph Club also. I took the car over, needed a bit of attention, but it's a fantastic car. It's a 6-cylinder, 2.5 litre, very powerful. Not so easy to fine-tune them and run them, but once they go well, it's a fantastic car to drive. That car I wanted when I was 16 years old. I got it when I was about 60 years old, so you see, patience gives you some rewards. The soft top is on, but normally you drive it mostly without the soft top to enjoy the good weather.
At this day, it's called a Triumph Protea. Sometimes it's called a Protea Triumph. It's actually a Protea-based car using Triumph mechanicals. It comes from a TR2 that belonged to a fellow who was doing endurance racing and found that a TR engine, TR gearbox, back axle, and all those lovely things was so nice and reliable. So he commissioned a fellow called John Myers, who was building cars and racing cars at the time, to build a special chassis and use the donor TR2 parts to build a race car. Handmade aluminium body, which was made by a fellow called Jeff Collins. And the car first raced in the beginning of 1959 at the 6-hour endurance race at Roy Hesketh in Pietermaritzburg and won the first race that it ever raced in against 2 MG twin cams from the works. So I like to rub that in, although some of my best mates are MG mates. It then ended up going to Luanda in the 1960 Luanda Grand Prix and all over the country doing sports car racing, mainly at Grand Central at the time. It's quite common knowledge that Massey Ferguson, which was built by the Standard Motor Company, had similar components to the TR engine. And you can take the wet liner cylinders out of a TR engine and put Massey Ferguson tractor engine ones in there, and you get 87 millimeters, which pushes the capacity to about 2.1 something, call it 2.2 liters if you're lucky. So lots of us did that when we were racing, gave you lots of torque, it was cheap, and that's what we did in the days.